Hello, yes us. How are you all? So a good question that you open with is what are some of the top trends that I see, sales trends for 2014? And particularly you added in a tough economy. Well, I'm fortunate enough to be able to get to travel the world now. Since I sold my last business several years ago, I get to talk to audiences maybe just like yourselves across Europe, in the Middle East, and in fact right now I'm speaking to you from New Zealand. Maybe I should have done the slot earlier today about sales upside down. Might have been more fitting for someone down under. But as I travel the world, the challenges are the same wherever I go. How do we get more people to spend more money more often? And yes, while times are tough. But let me start. The first trend that I see, in fact, I'd like to highlight is really a worrying one that I see. Is when times start to get a little bit tough, people start cutting back on their marketing activity. And marketing, by the way, for me, marketing is what you do to get the phone to ring. Sales is what you do once the phone rings. That's it in essence for me. But people cut back on their spend, and for me that's a false economy. Now is the time more than ever that you need to step up all of your sales and marketing activity, doing more than you've ever done before and more effectively. But the good news is, and I know you've touched on this today and we'll talk about it later on here too, but so much of what you can do, particularly online, will cost you nothing if you do it correctly. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The second trend, let's look at something there. The thing that I see is the rise of the non-sales salesperson, if that makes sense. Sales now isn't anybody's role, it's everybody's role in a business. The way that the world has changed means that there's an imbalance, or there was rather an imbalance of information in days gone by, which meant the salesperson felt they had the upper hand. They had all the knowledge and they could go and find their prey and they could sell to them as best they could. Always be closing. Are you familiar with that phrase? ABC, always be closing. Because the information now is out there, you can sit in the audience with your iPhone, with an iPad, on the computer, and in seconds you can have all the information about a product or service. In fact, maybe sometimes more information than the salesperson's even got. And where I absolutely don't believe that spoils things for salespeople, I think it levels the playing field because we've now got a more informed buyer, and we must recognise that and respect that. And what that's brought around is the rise of the non-sales salesperson. So whereas somebody may have felt they were in finance, they were in operations, now they're perfectly able to help a client make up their mind. They can help balance the information at hand and present it to people to solve a problem in a non-salesy way. And most of us, we're honest, prefer to be able to work with that relationship rather than being sold at. So trend number 2 would be the rise of the non-salesy salesperson, and recognising it, embracing it, and letting everyone realise they can become professional mind maker-uppers, people that move people to a decision rather than sell at them. Hope that makes sense. So the number 3 has to be, for me, what's happening in the world with mobile technology. Because every man now can become a shopkeeper if they've got a mobile phone and an app. They can promote products, they can take payments all on here, but also because people are searching online using mobile technology. You've all got a website, I'm going to assume. Very few people wouldn't have. But how many of you have really checked that your mobile site works effectively on a mobile phone? I don't mean just a miniature replica of your website, I mean one that's suited to the mobile environment. So the next big trend that we see, without any shadow of a doubt, is what's happening with apps for business and how you can feed people information using and embracing mobile technology. Great question, probably from someone that's had a few run-ins with their marketing department at some point. But there used to be the marketing department, sales department, and a huge divide between the two. For me, as a die-hard salesperson, the marketing people were the ones that had all the budget. They were the ones that had no accountability. Theirs was just about brand awareness and other fluffy stuff. They had colouring in pens and pencils and made things look pretty. Is that what some of you think marketing's still about? That's so old hat. You have to work together now. It's not a question of how do you get them to. Sales and marketing are inextricably linked. Your marketing activity is about engaging with more people. Are you familiar with the term ROI? Return on investment? Well, nowadays the world has changed and we need to look at a return on engagement, ROE. How do you engage with people? That's what your marketing needs to be doing. It's conveying your message, and your salespeople are no longer out there ABC, always be closing, not cold calling, but working together to help customers solve problems. That might mean that the salesperson has to find the problem in the first place and then explain it through good marketing, through good messages, to explain to people that you've got the solution. But we shouldn't spend too much time on this. How do we get sales and marketing to work together? Get them to do it. Get them to focus on what the common goal for the business is, get everyone to buy into that, and fire them up with enthusiasm. Another good question. Are international sales made easier thanks to social media? And how do we protect our good reputation? Well, I'd say it's not just through social media, but look at us now. We're either having this call on Skype or I've recorded this ready to be able to play to an audience, an Englishman in Athens whilst he's actually away in New Zealand. Technology is allowing me to do this. I could also put this as a YouTube video for the world to see. Picture this, if I'd suggested just a few years ago that all of you could have a global TV network for your business and it would cost you absolutely nothing, you'd have thought I was crazy, right? But you can. And how many of you are using effectively things like YouTube, Vimeo, all the other facilities are out there to let you send your pictures, your images, your video to the world. And how much does it cost? You've got the theme here. Zero. It's free to be able to use so much of this. So does it widen an international audience? The answer's right here. I'm in New Zealand talking to Athens using social media of some form or another, and it costs nothing. So yes, it's opened up the world. It's also changed the face of business for me to a great degree too, whereas it's no longer just the huge organisations that can compete on a global scale. We're going to see in 2014 an absolute rise, a momentous rise in global small businesses. That's people that are maybe one-man bands, maybe 1 to 20 employees, but doing business on a global scale because of what happens with social media and with technology. We must embrace it. We really don't have an option but to get on board and work with it, because that's where your clients may well want to engage with you. So it doesn't matter what you feel about Facebook or about Twitter or YouTube, but where do your clients want to get information maybe around you, your products and services? And the answer you're going to find is online and often through social media. The second part of your question was an interesting one about how do you protect a good reputation. There used to be a phrase that you'll be familiar with, maybe the only piece of Latin that most British people seem to know, but caveat emptor, buyer beware. You're familiar with that phrase? Well, 2014 and beyond, I think again that's going to change. The phrase should be caveat venditor. It's seller beware. Because what happens now, whatever product or service you have to sell, people can go online and research. They can also go on into chat rooms. They can go into forums like TripAdvisor. The days of, and please don't take this as a personal assault on the Greek market. But I was one of the very early tourists to visit Greece and to go to Corfu before it became the binge drinking area for Brits to come to, and I apologise unreservedly on behalf of so many of the drunk Brits. But the fact that I was in Corfu many years ago, it was buyer beware, caveat emptor, because the brochure had a picture carefully cropped to show no building beside the taverna that I was maybe going to stay at. No power lines. The beach was in easy walking distance, it said. Well, easy walking for who? But now, if you try to hide the fact that the hotel isn't quite finished, or that the standard of cleanliness or the standard of entertainment isn't as good as you might like to pretend it is, well then you're going to be found out, because TripAdvisor and other sites will actually let other people know what's there. So protecting your good reputation is, you better be good at what you do. Very good. But then the trick is to let other people tell their followers, their tribe, their family and friends, their influential field. Let them tell other people how good you are, which saves you a fortune on your marketing effort to buy adverts that people often don't believe anyway. So yes, social media internationally and locally will play a huge part in your credibility and also your reputation. Okay, this should be a really quick one for you. May not get a popular vote with some sales directors and sales managers, but I'm not here to win friends. I'm here to try and just tell you how it is and tell you what I see has changed. The simple answer is the things not to do to get the most out of your sales teams is stop micromanaging them. You need to look at different sets of KPIs nowadays because of the way the world has changed. It's not about door knocking, the number of cold calls they've made during a day, number of prospects they've been in front of. For most of us in our businesses nowadays, because it's all changed, it's about being effective. I urge people to have what I call a power hour every day when they are working purely on phone calls to people that will move a sale forward. But a lot of the rest of the time is dealt with research, online maybe through LinkedIn, online researching people's websites, finding the data that you need so that you can find the problem or potential problem that someone's got and work on that. But sales managers shouldn't be micromanaging people's time. Recognise that there are different skill sets that a lot of people bring to the table. Recognise that nowadays in sales, it can be the non-sales people that can help produce either the end result or certainly a really good prospect and bring them in through the funnel for you. So stop micromanaging. That's it in a nutshell. There's a lot more detail to it than that, but I can't share it in this little sound bite. Stop micromanaging, give people room to grow. Okay, you asked for my one final top tip. In fact, I'd rather give you a challenge if you're up for that. Let me see, a quick show of hands. How many people here are actually up for a challenge? Come on. I know it's video, play along. Who's up for a challenge? 7 days is all it's going to take. Okay, and here is the challenge, and it's a tough one, but I promise you, if you'll work with me on this, it can change enormously your results and also just your life altogether. For 7 days, you ready for this? No complaining. Now I said it was tough, but no complaining. Not about your wife, not about your husband, not about work, not about the salesperson that didn't perform, not about the traffic. No complaining for 7 days. Because what happens when you focus on the negative stuff all the time and you're moaning and complaining, does that help your well-being? Does it help the results that you want to get? No, you might let off a little steam in the moment, but it's not going to help you. If you focus on just the bad stuff, guess what's coming your way? If you focus on crap, you become a crap magnet. And that's all that's coming at you. Don't be a crap magnet. Focus on good stuff, because you know people out there that just focus on doom and gloom and the bad economy. Those people aren't fun to be with. They're not getting great results. If you know people like that, you shouldn't just walk away from them. Not at all. You should run like the wind. Do not hang around negative people that will drag you down. And for 7 days, you're not to complain. Not about the weather, not about politics, not about the economy. No complaining. Focus on good things, and I promise good stuff will come your way. I've seen results of this time and time again where people have got extraordinary results. It's not to say you won't feel like complaining, but in that moment you can stop, you can reframe it in your mind and find a positive slant on things. Because once you're aware of how you're responding, your attitude will change. People around you will be attracted, the right people, clients as well, will be attracted to more positive, upbeat people that are actually not complaining and moaning, but getting on and making stuff happen. So I wish you all the best from this conference. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you actually in person right now. Let's think maybe next year round. I'd love to come and share stuff with you firsthand and get to meet you personally. But it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, at least in this format for now. Wish you every success for 2014. You can get information from me, from my website, all for free if it helps you, eurekasales.co.uk. Go to my website. You can join me on Facebook there. You can join me on LinkedIn. Let's connect. And if you have any questions at all, anything I can help you with, please just either pick up the phone, send me an email, but get in touch. All the best for 2014.